My people, what up, though? We live with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
My name is Adrian.
That's different. Yeah, that's the first time that's ever been like that. It's always, Bell or Apprentice. So it's different. Bell's a little late to the party, but we wanted to get this thing going so we could get to you guys. You dig what I'm saying? Bell will be in here in just a second. I don't know if Prentice is gonna show up tonight because Thursdays is normally his, dad thing with the kids and his son be having games and whatnot. But with that being said, Mr. White, what's up, man? How you doing? Let's not even a check-in yet. Just literally, how you doing, bro? I ain't told we missed what 2 weeks now?
I don't even know, man, but I'm doing good, man. You know what, man? You see what I got on?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I'm enjoying the process, baby.
Sweatshirt.
You know
Y'all go ahead and hit abmnt.com and snatch up your hoodies and whatnot. With the mean ABMNT patch on the sleeve. Get your hoodie, your sweatshirt, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Support the cause. We got mugs. We actually got lapel pins now. If you get like to get snazzy, get you some lapel pins, put them up on your suit. You know what I'm saying? Pass them out to your people. I actually got a couple mugs that just got sent in to me today, so we put an order in. Nevertheless, we doing some cool things, man. I wanted to for those who don't know, I'll wait till Bell get on for that one. But we just returning from a cool spot for those of you who follow us. You know what I'm saying? We went over on the other side of the country to handle some business and link with our player partner, and it was an absolutely dope experience, man. It was real cool. We learned a lot. We was in the room. When I say in the room, I'm talking about in the room. So when Bellhead gets on, we'll definitely fill you all in about it. But before we get into that, Mr. White, man, per usual, check in, yo. It's been like 2 weeks. I need to know what's up. How everything been going? I saw you got licensed in Florida.
Yeah.
The insurance in Florida. So, you know what I
Florida.
mean? Tell the people what's going on.
Nah, so it's beautiful, man. Growing. There is conflict though because I want to get away from insurance and just doing self-pay. So it's like I'm growing two businesses that kind of take away from each other, but that'll work itself out. Outside of that, it's been good, man. Me and the wife had a little rough patch, man. Me and the wifey had a little rough patch in which now that we good, I was offended. And it shut me all the way down to where I was comfortable just walking in my offense. And I'm like, nah, she should know better. Nah, I ain't saying nothing. Like I'm gonna shut down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once her business start going, I'm separating the accounts. Like I went from 0 to 100. I'm separating the accounts. Like I'll support you here, but I ain't about to be. And it's just like, the root of it was I legit got offended, bro, and I was so comfortable, with
using your feeling.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Which ain't a bad thing, and I'm glad you can own that. Because sometimes we do be getting our feelings and be acting like, you know what I'm saying. So we be acting like, oh, I know what it's like when we get in our feelings, man.
Right.
We be salty, bitter, making rash decisions. Out of here.
Right. And it was just a misunderstanding. But the crazy thing is, it was just a misunderstanding, right? And I knew it. I'm like, and I'm like, no, I'm tired of working on communication all the time because a relationship is so much work that sometimes you get tired of working. You know what I'm saying? You're just like, nah, let me just sit in this for a little while, But I don't need to do that, man. I don't need to do that.
But y'all back on the straight road. Everything good?
Yeah. I will say it lasted about like 2.5 days, and that's the longest it's ever been. Right? Typically, next day we always good. So she was like, "Yeah, like you ain't talked to me in 2 days," and I'm like, "I mean, I talked to you. I just didn't initiate the conversation, but I had to let it go." So it was cool. We learned from it, and my biggest takeaway is if I feel some type of way, I have to express it and not hold on to it.
Did that time give you time to process, or you were just festering in your feelings?
I was just in my feelings. I wasn't trying to process nothing, Chief. I wasn't trying to process nothing. I'm like, nah, because it's a lot. Like we have a huge blended family. And so we both are growing in so many different ways. Then when you factor in, the businesses, and we got the baby who ain't sleeping through the night. And then my son, who he wake up, he opening doors. So like I got him during the week to take him back. She got the baby, and it's just so much pulling that sometimes we don't know if we, coming or going, but we working through it. And we decided like, at the end of the day, us being friends and interacting with each other always make things easier. So
that's what's up. That's definitely what's up. So who initiated the conversation? You, when it was time to get right?
Yeah, I finally talked, but she was always, so she handled it like a G. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to, okay, I'll give you your space. Just let me know. And then I'm sitting here like, we cutting this up. She was like, well, why are you separating things? I'm like, because the more things that we don't do together, the easier it'll be to communicate. And she was like, so you sure that's just not like avoiding the problem? Like, it don't even matter. Well, okay, if that's how you want to do it. And that was literally her. So she was chilled about it, which was making me sit in it a little more. You know what I'm saying? So then finally, I'm like, man, let me talk to her, man. My wife fire, man. She definitely good for me, bro.
That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. I'm glad you guys were able to work it out. You know what I'm saying? Keep it. Don't be the statistic, man. Fight that thing through. Work.
Facts.
What else you got for me?
That's pretty much it in terms of my check-in. What about you, man? How you breathing over there? How you feeling?
All is well, man. I'm happy and healthy. The kids are happy and healthy. My daughter, my son took my sons with me to go see my daughter. My daughter started running track, and it's her first time ever. So she had a meet a couple weeks ago. She was running the 55. She won her heat. She was dumb height. Today, one of the girls didn't show up, so she like filled in for her in the long jump. Ended up winning the long jump. You know what I'm saying? So your boy was wild hype about it. They ran a 4x2. I don't know if you know, but like football players, I treat her like she like football players. Anything more than 100 yards ain't it? You know what I'm saying? So that first 100, she was blazing. That last 100 walked up on her. You know what I'm saying? That last 100 walked up on her, and she ended up winning though. But still, like you could just see her slow down. It was like her team ended. It was a 4x2. Her team ended up winning, but like that last 100 walked up on her something crazy. But it was just good to see, man. Like my boys are there cheering for their sister, you know what I'm saying? And she's like building her confidence. And I watched her do the long jump, and like they were warming up, and you could just see she wasn't like she had never done it before. Mm-hmm. So it looked a little awkward. Then finally, when it came time to like for it to count, she sprinted through that thing, and I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of cool to see. And she ended up winning and whatnot. So it was kind of cool, man. It was just, it's cool to see them growing, and then her brother's there to support, and they cheering her on, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's real dope. Working on a new album, and after this experience we had over the course of the weekend, so since Bell hasn't showed up yet, I just started to think. So this weekend, man, All Black Men Need Therapy was at the Grammys, yo. Like we spent the weekend in the Grammys, got fly with my homies, and we are like in the room, Mr. White. Like we learned so much about the game there, but like, and that's what kind of we wanted to learn the game and how it works so we can continue to grow in that aspect of it. But like everybody can't say, like some of these, like I think Bell said it to me when we was there, like most people won't see these people perform at all, ever. Mm-hmm. We in the room with them. You know what I'm saying? Like we feet away from Taylor Swift and J&B and SZA and Luke Combs, and you know what I'm saying? Like we in the room, fam. And it's just like it was wild. It was a wild experience, bro. Like it really, really was. So I think the objective now is to get back in the room, but like develop to become a somebody in that room. You know what I'm saying? Like we in there getting the feel, shaking hands, doing all the good stuff. But it was real dope to like to experience, man. It really, really was. And I'm super thankful that we went. And shout out to my man Prentice for his nomination. He didn't get it, but it was motivational for him and Sean. They kind of, again, we all just learned a good lesson, and moving forward, it should be some good things, some real good things happening, bro. So Grammy weekend was absolutely something I would recommend if you have access to going, is be a part of it, yo, because it was wild.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. And it's definitely the first step, right? Like I bet you if you look back at your progression, you always got a glimpse of something before you walked into it. You know what I'm saying? And then once you walk into it, it's like, oh, it ain't even what I thought it was. And then it just keep going. So eventually y'all gonna be going and just being in circles like that, where then it ain't gonna be nothing to you. It's just what's gonna be the next level, the next thing for y'all to hit, man. So that's coming for y'all, bro.
Nah, it was dope. So we went to the Grammys after party, and it was cool, but it was like that ain't where everybody go. That ain't where the somebodies go. The Grammys after parties for the regulars. You know what I'm saying? The somebodies are at the at the secret address where the party's really at. So we trying to get that joint next time around. But it was definitely dope. I got to see my college teammate is dude I lived with for 5 years in college is Neo's drummer. And Neo performed at the Grammy after party. So to bump into him there was just super, super dope. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good weekend overall, man. Real good weekend. Nevertheless, Mr. White, you had on to today's topic, y'all. You know we gotta do a check-in, make sure we good. But you had an option for today's topic, and tell the people about it. Let's jump right into it.
Oh yeah, facts. So I reached out to the wife, definitely glad we on good terms.
Hold on.
And I'm
So
like,
now
there you go.
Bell. He's here. You late. Check in. You right on. You on cue. Right up. Let's go. You chewing and shit. Get into it. Check in.
Wait, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, turn your mic up a little bit.
How about now?
A little bit more.
Now? Not too much?
Nah, I don't. You sound the same.
You hear that?
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Probably not good to do on live, but whatever.
I mean, I got all my levels all the way up, so I don't know.
There you go. You're good right there. Check in.
Say something real quick.
Something. Check in, homie.
All right, there we go. I had to turn down. Anyway, my check-in. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. A lot of travel. I got my first good night's sleep last night. Went to the Grammys, man. It was awesome. I'm assuming, Chief, you gave that on your check-in?
A little bit, yeah. I was trying to wait for you, but I told him, it felt good to kind of be in the room and
Exactly.
we learned a lot in the process. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I tell everybody. It just felt good. It felt good to be in the room. But yeah, man, since the last recording, I was in New Orleans, Cancun, and LA, all within like 2 weeks. So it's a lot of traveling, man. All good travel though. I'm good, man. I don't have any complaints. My cousin, shout out to my cousin Big Mike and my cousin Jim Bob. They came up today from Atlanta. So I took them to dinner. Nice spot here in Boston, black owned joint. Took them there. That was cool to see them, just to catch up. What else? We're just busy, man. We got a lot of stuff going on with the podcast. We got a lot of stuff going on personally, with work. Good, all good stuff though. Just busy, man. That's it. Busy and tired. That's my check-in.
No doubt. Same thing. Jet lag still kind of whooping on my ass, but I'm gonna be all right. But Mr. White was about to break into the episode, Bell. So Mr. White, go ahead. Today's topic.
All right, so today's topic, right? Reached out to the wife. I'm like, babe, we need a topic tonight. What you got? And so she sent me all of these questions about a growth mindset, right? So my first question to y'all is, do you feel like, and I'll just say the majority, because we know all don't mean all, right? But do you feel like the majority of Black men have a growth mindset?
Chief?
This is gonna be a double-edged sword because I do feel like a lot of men have a growth mindset, but in the wrong areas. I feel like the mindset is to grow and they learn how to level up in the dope game or how to bag more shorties or you know what I'm saying? But the growth, their areas of concern are in the wrong place. Is that fair?
Here's what I'll say. If you don't got anything else to add, Chief.
No, go ahead, boss.
No, I'm not even trying to be funny. Adrian, stop laughing at me, man. Like, I ain't even start yet. I said this today on a call. First of all, I've been unexpectedly dropping gems, like quotables. So the other day, I posted on my LinkedIn, one of my old students hit me up, And he was like, "Hey man, I just want to thank you for everything you did. I didn't listen, and now as a man, I know everything that you was trying to tell me." And I said, "Man, it's all good, man. Sometimes time is the only teacher." You know what I'm saying? When I said that, I'm like, "Oh, that was profound." And today I had a call. Shout out to my one of my partners in my company, Amanda Burke, phenomenal woman, black woman, and we were just talking, and she said something to me, and I'm like, "Well, sometimes you have to go in order to grow." And we were talking about comfort, and environment and stuff like that, and we were talking about it as it pertains to work, but I'm like, damn, that was kind of profound. So here's what I'll say to answer your question. I think I do believe most black men have a growth mindset. That's the short answer. I do agree with Chief where that growth will take place is debatable. But I do believe their environment could determine where they choose to dedicate that growth mindset. So I do believe I don't believe that's another topic, but I don't believe most black men want to be less than. I don't believe that. I do believe that there's a strong contingency of us that may have our values misplaced, right, or displaced, and there's and the lack of opportunity can force us to survive, and that could also be looked at as growth, because what's the alternative, right? If you're in an environment where people aren't making it and you're surviving, that can constitute as growth. Right now, you may not constitute it as that. I may not constitute it as that, but the reality is the alternative is death. So if he's making it, he's won. So I don't. The short answer, overarching answer, I don't believe any of us want to be stagnant. What do you think, Adrian?
All right, so I think most black men want to grow, but I don't think the majority of us have the mindset to do so, right? Because I don't think we like adversity. I think too often we'll get comfortable. I don't think we reach out for help much. I don't think we reach out for mentorship. And a lot of us will shut down and just be comfortable where we are at, right? Like it's so many of my homeboys who are talented in so many different ways, but they're not leaving the city that they are in. You know what I'm saying? So they're not open to new, uncomfortable experiences. So they'll find different areas to move up, but it's only a certain, degree in which they'll do it. And so I think it's very few that are open to where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do the research. Okay, I'm gonna put myself out there. Okay, I'm gonna get 100 no's and keep going till I get that, one yes. Right. I don't think they're willing to do all of the work, right? Like you guys, you know how many people talked about starting the podcast and actually doing the work and doing the clips and doing all of the shows, but they stop because they don't have the mindset to embrace the journey of it. So I'll say while we want to, I don't think they have the mindset to do it.
Did you know that real random thing? But you talk about the podcast, and it's something that I'm proud of because it said the average podcast lasts 3 episodes. And if you make it past the 3rd episode, you don't get past the 20th episode. We just recorded our 100th episode live. So
And more than that, if you count these lives.
Right. So we're doing something right.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Chief, because you mentioned that a while ago, but it's a good refresher for some of those folks who are joining us for the first time. And Adrian, if you never heard that, here's where I'll challenge you though, Adrian. This is where I'm saying, man, it's all relative, bro, because everything you just said, in my opinion, and please give me a point of clarity, but in my opinion, you were talking about outliers, right? So I'll explain. You referenced Chief and I with this podcast. Based on the statistics that Chief just said, we're outliers, right? So we are not the norm, right? We're not the norm. So what I would challenge is, I agree that the people you reference, we all have them. I would agree the people you're referencing are comfortable, but I would argue how from a growth mindset standpoint, how are they doing compared to those around them? So like you may see them and you be like, and I'm just you, the proverbial you. You may see them and see like, man, you could be doing so much more. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be doing so much more, but they like, yo, I'm actually good, bro. You see, little Nuck Nuck, like he messed up. I'm making $17 an hour, bro. Nuck Nuck got SSS checks, so I'm doing well, right? So it's but this is what I'm saying, fellas. In my opinion, it comes back to environment, right? Like if you can't remove yourself from there and know that there's more, you know what I'm saying? Like you will get complacent,
Right.
100%.
So no, so I agree with you. I definitely think the reason why we don't have that mindset is because a lot of us haven't been experienced, haven't seen it. Right. So I think environment is the number one thing. So I don't think it's our fault.
Right.
Right. Like, oh, black man, it's your fault that you don't have a mindset to search and see things outside of you, right? Like mine happened literally by accident. Like I only chose to go to college because my cousin was transferring there. And she's like, yo, come to school here. I'm like, all right, you gonna help me with the paperwork and stuff? All right, cool, I'll go. So that's the only reason why I experienced, something different
He
than
said it like he
planning
was
all
about to
of that.
grab some snacks from the store. You gonna help me pay for these? We talking thousands of
So,
dollars.
but yeah, I agree with you right on the head, though. It's definitely about environment. But I say it too because I see it in different areas, right? So, like, largely with couples counseling, a lot of times men are the ones who don't want to go. Myself, because I was one of them. What is somebody else going to tell me? We rather rely on our own intellect than defer to the expert, you know? And then even when I'm putting things in place, they typically men don't come in with like, okay, I know I need this help. What do you got for me? Majority of the time is I'm only here because she making me come, or you need to kind of fix her and get her
Yeah,
situated. So that's what I mean in terms of being open.
you're not wrong, bro. Like none of this is wrong, right? But it's cause and effect.
Absolutely.
You know
Very
what
much
I'm saying?
so.
It's cause and effect, man. And it's like there's a reason why we don't want to be that guy, like fix her. Like we like, nah, man, like that won't like people don't I mean, you understand, we understand, but maybe the universe or the masses don't understand that a black man's lack of vulnerability is based on survival.
Mhm.
It's based on survival. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like you, it's an innate instinct to not be vulnerable. Like, and I can't speak for every black man, but I'll speak for those that I've been around in my 40 years on this planet. And it's like letting that vulnerability down is like what Jay-Z say: when you put your vest away, say you wear it tomorrow, and the day after we be saying, damn, I was just with him yesterday. Right?
Mhm.
Like that's is like putting your bulletproof vest away. And then you do that, you just opening yourself up, you know?
Yeah,
Shout
because
out to
ain't
Jay-Z too, man. That just sidebar, that was such a dope moment. Him coming up to give his Grammy speech to that song Where I'm From. I don't know if you picked up on that, Chief, but that was
yeah,
Where I'm
we
From.
talked about it. We talked about it in
Oh
the
yeah,
spot.
that line I just said, put your vest away, say where tomorrow. That's from Where I'm From. That's my favorite Jay-Z song of all time. Don't at me.
Forgot I was gonna say now. But so what are what do y'all think the ramifications or the repercussions are of from men who refuse to take on this growth mindset? Because when we're not growing and elevating, somebody, something suffers.
That's a good
What do
point.
y'all think that is, Mr.
Um,
White?
Oh, I think it mostly is those that are closest to us or that are, around us. You know what I'm saying? And even to piggyback, but it is difficult, like Bell was saying, right? Because Even with me being a therapist for a decade, I know the importance of vulnerability and I still don't do it. Like that's what sparked the argument with me and my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like she was asking me to do something and I'm like, yo, if I got to do this just to love you right, I'm not doing it. And I knew it was just me not wanting to be open, but we got to a place to where I'm not comfortable being this vulnerable with you right now in this second. And if that's what's needed, I'm not doing it. So
Adrian,
it definitely levels to it.
man, you are just full of shock value. Like on this podcast to your wife, boy, you be saying some shit, man. I'm like, man, pray for that man, because somebody gonna put his hands on him. Like, dude, you say that to your wife, you a brave soul, bro. Like,
nah, it worked for us though. Like that's why I know we gonna make it, because we can legit just be like super honest, and she get me. So like it's not, things typically don't build up on either side, because I can literally like just be me, and it's not
that
something
speaks
that's
to your
ever happened.
foundation.
Like it's not my norm.
Yeah,
But,
it speaks to your foundation. That's dope.
yeah,
Man. That's real dope.
Yo, so this speaking and kind of in that vein, Mr. White, there was a something going around social media right now. I think it was Shaq who said something like you don't like to not get vulnerable with your women and do these things. How do y'all feel about that?
Hey, yo. Like, what type of women we talking about, man? Like, that's like, yo, because, yo, man, I know some amazing women in general, right? Amazing women. And I would agree that well, I will say, I don't believe you should be vulnerable with everybody. I'm gonna just put that out there. Women, men, you know, neurodivergent, like it don't matter who it is. I don't believe you should be vulnerable with everybody. I believe that vulnerability is built through trust or exchange through trust, in my opinion. And quite frankly, some women, I feel like I'm gonna go down a dark path for a second, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So here's the deal, bro. So I got this real good friend, right? She just recently went through a divorce. At no point did she ever tell me what was going on in their relationship. Like, we've been friends since college, and we mostly just communicate about our kids. But she just recently went through a divorce, and she never told me the reason. Like, her husband's dealing with something, but she never told me. And I'm like, hey, I'm just curious. Like, why did you never tell me? And she's like, cuz. She's like, she didn't say this, but more or less she said, it's none of your business. She's like, because what he's going through, I never want to put him in a position where this could come back at him. Right? Whether I say something to somebody or whatever, like whatever he's going through, it's nobody's business. And I'm like, that's dope. Because like I said, we've been friends for 20 years, you know, and we don't talk often, but we've been friends. And I'm like, that's a woman you can be vulnerable with. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a woman you can be vulnerable. She's gonna hold you down. Now, I don't believe you should be being vulnerable with like flings. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that you just hooking up with. We all know what that looks like. I don't believe you should be vulnerable there, because one, you're not ready. You know, like what are they gonna do with that information? Like that's the reason why I'm not vulnerable, is that's always my thought. What are they gonna do with this information?
A lot of dudes get caught up in that pillow talking phase, though. You get comfortable laying down, and I mean, I don't know if necessarily vulnerability. It might be more gossip in that end, but a little bit more information than what needs to be said. And that's the big question: like, what are they going to do with that information?
Yeah, man. And some of these girls are going and telling the other dude that they messing with about him, and dudes get lined up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth. And again, it's mostly our culture, right? Not to say it doesn't happen to other cultures, but it's mostly our culture. So it's like, nah, yo, this is crazy. I was just telling this story yesterday. I'm not going to say no names, but there was a time where I had a problem with a person, and it was kind of on site. I get a call. His girl called my man and was like, or whether it's his girl at the time or not, they was together, and she was like, yo, he over here, pull up. So she basically set him up. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, no, you shouldn't be being vulnerable with her, right? Like, there's too much at risk to be vulnerable with the wrong person. You know what I mean? Like we was talking today too. I'm like, yeah, my wife didn't know how much money I made till we bought a house. So it was out of necessity, you know, like, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying this is just how I operate. Any black male therapist.
Mr. White's information is here for those of you who are looking for it. It says, do any of you know a black male therapist who will do a group session with some young black men who have experienced loss? Mr. White, if that's in your forte, I don't know or not, but if
What
it is,
state?
hit him up.
What state? Because we got a local one too. Yeah, that's my thoughts. I feel like I've been overtaking the conversation, so I won't say anything more about vulnerability.
We've been bouncing around.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Chief.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll definitely.
Well, so I do want to respond to that message. Yeah, you definitely got to get a therapist that's licensed in that state too. That's going to be able to do it. That's why I do more coaching and counseling too, though, so I could be nationwide. You know what I'm saying? But make sure you do find somebody in that state. But so when I think about vulnerability, I'm glad you brought this up, because if you remember, Bell, the last time I answered this question, that's when they was frying me, and one lady was like, "You the worst," because I said, "Don't do it." You're right.
Yo,
I'm glad
AJ be so definitive.
I had a chance to think about it, because I always like to. If she felt that strong about it, what did you say wrong? So I will say this: if it's somebody you are in a serious relationship with, married, engaged, something like that, the goal is to get to the point to where you can do it. But there's steps that you need to take before that. So I don't recommend jumping out the window. I recommend saying, hey, when I'm vulnerable with you, this is what I need from you in those moments. I recommend having a follow-up conversation about it, et cetera, right? Having a conversation before you just do it, because a lot of people don't know what to do with vulnerability, men included. We can be real dismissive of a woman's feelings and, well, why you feel like that? Yeah, but this right here happened. You shouldn't take it that way. So we don't know what to do a lot of times too. So be able to articulate what you need in that moment when you are going to be when you are about to be vulnerable, right? Yo. And I think another piece is understanding that a lot of times when a woman brings it up, we interpret it as them using it against us, but that's not their intent.
When you say
the moments of vulnerability,
Oh, like
when women bring up the moments of vulnerability, you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. We think they're using it against us. Like, yo, I shared this with you. Now you're using it back at me. But that's not what they're literally trying to do. And that goes back to just, understanding. Typically, they're just bringing it up to make a point as to why they feel the way they feel. Right. So if you like, yeah, like this, my brother, like I love him. I feel like I got to support him. I'm whatever. But you don't need to go around them. You go around them, you bring it up, but you don't even like doing that. Boom, boom. While you still going over there. Well, why would you bring that back up and use that against me? I should have never told you about what I was. But that wasn't her intent. Her intent really is she legit just care about you and want what's best for you. But it's hard to see that. So it just takes a lot of conversation. So when you're vulnerable, whether somebody handles it right or wrong, talk about it afterwards, right? Even if you get offended, let it go, continue to process, continue to grow in that area, man. But definitely don't just do it with anybody. Like, it got to be somebody you serious with, because it's work.
So when you said that, Mr. White, I initially, I almost took it as like a negative thing when you said that, because it felt like we have to start putting parameters around our vulnerability. But I think that actually comes to a point of like great communication when you're able to say, listen, I'm in a space right now. I'm comfortable enough with you to share, and this is what I need from you. I think that's like top level communication. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but it also but like having to give someone a disclaimer on how to handle confidential matters kind of sucks. But
no,
in the same vein, like you got to view it as quality, as good communication. Like, this is what I need from you, and I'm hoping that you can give me that.
Well, one, most black men haven't been vulnerable long enough to know what they need after they are vulnerable. That's one.
Mhm.
Two, women aren't, in general, I'm speaking, aren't used to that level of vulnerability, right? So they may not know how to respond. So like I guess I say that to say, Chief, you can have you can be the most effective communicator in the world, but for instance, I can give you all the instructions on how to fly a plane, but you ain't gonna be able to fly that bitch because you don't know how to fly a plane. But I was an effective communicator. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to know our audience, man. It's like you got to know your personnel, and I'll be honest, some people just aren't ready to receive that level of vulnerability from you, and it has nothing to do with you.
But
It has
so
everything to do with where they are in their journey.
yeah, so I mean, there's always we hear that conversation where there's like, before dumping everything on to certain people, ask if they have the space for you in that moment, which oftentimes doesn't happen, which again leads to good communication. But I'm just looking at it like sometimes if we find ourselves in a space where we actually have developed this comfort with this person and subconsciously just start pouring and it gets thrown back at us, it's like instant shutdown. And not just for that person, it carries on for a while now until we find someone else we are safe with, which may be
If we do,
if we do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I almost feel like this should like we should preach, if nothing less, the communication has to be, listen, I'm in a space right now. I'm gonna share some things with you. Just don't throw this back in my face. If that's the bare minimum of communication versus directing the person on how to care for you in this space.
Right. But I would add on to that too. And that's why it's good we're having this conversation, that we still need to give them another chance, right? Because we never they don't know how to be vulnerable with us specifically, right? Like Bell was saying, a lot of women have never been taught how to listen to a man be vulnerable, period. A lot of men don't know how to do it. So we have to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? So the first time they may interrupt us or not give us what we needed in that moment. Okay, you in your feelings, work through that, go back. Hey, when you did this, this is how it made me feel. But I'm still willing to continue to try to be vulnerable with you, because that's what builds unity. You know what I'm saying? So we have to continue to push through it. So if that's what I said, if it's a serious relationship, somebody you love, it's gonna be work. And like you said too, Chief, it sucks to have to, I have to literally script you on what to do for me to be vulnerable. Yes, because how else are they gonna know?
Right. But what I'm saying is, I don't think because we don't frequent the space of vulnerability, when we do, and it's met with friction, tension, negative energy, it's instant shutdown for men. At least I know for me it is. Like if I've come to a space where I'm able to communicate with you and it's thrown back in my face or it's met with negativity, it's one of those like, you just taught me how to treat you now. You taught me that I can't be in this space with you. You know what I'm
I would
saying?
argue you didn't vet them well enough.
Yeah, okay, that too. But I think that's also part of what we're working on with just me placing expectations on people that I shouldn't. But in the same vein, like, and I'm not particularly speaking about me, but I know for a fact that there have been men who have communicated things and have been met with resistance, and it's like, nah, I can't do it anymore. No, they're not listening. They don't understand me, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of layers to this vulnerability, because it's not, what you have to understand is vulnerability isn't singular, right? It's like, I'm going to be vulnerable with her. No, if you're going to be vulnerable, you're going to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? So like, vulnerability has to will show up in other parts of your life. And again, like when we spoke at the jail, remember, we were like, I forgot the conversation, but the CO was like, or maybe one of the kids, I don't remember who said it, but they were like, if I'm vulnerable with you in here, I still got to go back out there. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm exposed. And that's all it is. So it's like, I think, I mean, I love what you're saying, Chief, and I agree with you. I just don't know that it's that simple. Like a man being vulnerable with a woman and not being vulnerable somewhere else. Like, I don't know. Maybe that is. I don't know, but it doesn't seem that simple to me.
So if we can, fellas, I'd like to right now, if we can, give some of those parameters for the people. Like man or woman, if you're in a space where a black man is being vulnerable, this is what we need you to do. One, never take this information and throw it back in their face. What would be two, three, four, and five? Like, what else could we give them to say this is what we need? I mean, I know it's different per person, but just in general, what would be some steps we could give people to embrace and keep that space safe for the man to continue being vulnerable and
Can
take
I
some of the weight off his shoulders?
can I say something real quick? And this is a level of vulnerability. I'm listening to this conversation. I'm obviously chiming in, but I'm not going to hold you. I kind of feel like an imposter having this conversation with y'all because, in my opinion, I'm not qualified to give that information. Here's what I mean. I'm not vulnerable, right? I'm not. So I feel like an imposter. Like I feel like a hypocrite. Me trying to give somebody information on how to handle something that I don't partake in, right? So, like, my point in saying that, I know I'm not alone. Like, I know that there's men that I don't know. I just feel weird. Like, I feel weird having this conversation because it's
Okay,
like,
so Bell, we'll phrase it like this then. If you were given what you felt was a safe space with someone you trusted who was never going to throw the information you gave them back in their face, who met you with compassion and empathy, would that allow you to lower your guard and be more comfortable in being vulnerability?
no,
Now, is
my
that
wife. I've talked about this in an episode.
is
There's not a safer space than with her, and I'm still not.
that
Now, when I say I'm not, what I'm saying is when I'm either depressed or stressed, like I don't bring that to her, and it's not a safer place. There's not a safer place outside of my therapist. Um, it's not a safer. I just don't do it. That's why I'm really uncomfortable having this conversation. If I'm being honest, you see what I'm saying?
so, well, since you're already on the hot seat, what do you think it would take to get you to lower that guard, and why aren't you there? Can you explain why you aren't there? Is it life? Has
Are
it
you
been
there?
has it been thrown in your face to, like the point I make? It's been thrown in your face and you shut down.
Hold
No,
on.
I'm not be funny. Be
No,
serious.
no, no. I am too, and this is a real question. Are you there?
Yeah, I think way more than you.
People's skills way better than yours.
People's skills way better than yours, Nick. No, like yeah, no, for real. I definitely think I'm more apt to being vulnerable and not because
And
I don't.
I think you have selective vulnerability, but that's a conversation for another
That's
day.
fair. That's
Um,
fair.
Nothing's happened to me, bro. Like not by a woman. I haven't been vulnerable enough for something to happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't given anybody opportunity. Like I have not. I just haven't. Like and I may not be giving myself enough credit. Like there's things that you may or Adrian may deem as, oh, that's vulnerable. You know, like if you said that's vulnerable. I'm speaking specifically as it pertains, perfect topic, as it pertains to my mental health. Like if I had to categorize my areas of vulnerability, there's been no wiggle room as it pertains to my mental health and vulnerability with anybody other than a therapist. And even that, well, let's just stay with Lorraine, like specifically my wife. I won't bring that to her. Even though there's not a safer space.
Do you have a reason why?
Because it's not her burden to bear. Now, legally it is, right? She's my wife, right? Better or worse, but um I just I really live by the phrase like um past praise down and problems up. And in my relationship, she's not. We're equal. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like there's a leader I can speak to or something like other than God, right, to talk about my problems. But I won't do it, man. I just won't do it because you know why? Actually, if you want to know why, because it would kill me if my problems made her stressed. Because now I gotta, because I'm a protector, right? That's that. I can sum it up by saying I'm a protector. So now, if I gave her a problem that she damn sure don't know how to deal with it, because I don't know how to deal with it, and it's not her problem to deal with, then now that would make me more stressed or whatever the feeling I was having to now have to deal with that too. So I just handle it on my own. And again, I'm speaking specifically for mental health, like, and that isn't, there's not a safer space. So in that scenario, there's nothing she could do to make me want to be more vulnerable, unless, and here's the scary part: if I am vulnerable, that means the jig is up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may need to be checked into somewhere because it's gotten that bad where I can't take it no more. So, but that's me though.
But I also think that's a lot of men in this world. Like a lot of
Yeah,
us just
I agree.
a lot like in the past praise down and problems up thing. It's the same. It's a similar to I'll figure it out. That nigga. That's one of my favorite lines. Like I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. It's unfortunately a stigma that like all of us are plagued with because we don't want to put the burden on anybody else. And as a man, it's our job to figure it out.
And that's why men die first. Like that's a lot of weight to just
Word.
hold on to, right? And I think some things to think about, Belle, right? Because I don't know, but I think she might handle it better than you possibly think,
I know
right?
she.
So I know we have the fear of, and I'm saying this for everybody, but like
Mhm.
I know we have the fear of, I don't want to put nothing more on her to stress her out or to worry about that because that'll make it worse on me. But sometimes giving women that vulnerability piece literally like helps them grow. It's almost like they need it to connect with you even more, to
I agree.
align with you even more, to see different, sides, of you. But I'm also big on, like, when I do therapy with people, what are the goals you want to work on? We're looking at their relationships, this, that. If you happy with the way things are, cool. You don't need to see me. You know what I'm saying? So I also don't believe everybody has to do what the majority do. You know what I mean? But so yeah,
Who's that?
that's my 2 cents.
I believe that was a reference to you, Bell.
No,
But so
I've
is
had
that the
nothing but
perspective?
safe space. Hmm?
Is that the perspective when a man doesn't want to be vulnerable that he gets labeled as damaged?
See, this is what I'm saying. See, here's the deal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now you're making it about you.
What do you mean? This individual who made that?
Yeah, you're making it about you, right? Like, I'm damaged because I don't want to, and whether this is a reference to me or not, but I'm damaged because I don't want to share. It's like, I don't even know who that is. Um,
That's my cousin Jack.
Green Eye Jack.
Yeah.
What up, Jack? Um, it's like you're making it about you because I don't want to say something. You know what I mean? Or I got to be damaged because I don't want to tell you. Nah, right? None of that. All of that can be true, or none of it can be true. You know what I'm saying? None of it. It doesn't. It's not about. It's not about if you get that privilege or not. It's about if I'm willing to share it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sharing it because of you. I'm not sharing it because of me. Like, you're making it about you. Nah, I'm not doing it because of me. And the longest relationship I had is with my wife. We've been together for I want to say 13 years or some shit like that. I've been married for maybe 6. So no, it's not a safer space. But her, even if she said that to me, you must be damaged because you don't want to tell me. Nah, like, It's not about you. You know what I'm saying? Like how I handle myself and my challenges, it's about me. It's not about you. And I think that's what a lot of people do. We make shit about us. Right. Yeah, I need you to be vulnerable with me. No, no, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. If I want to do it, then I'll do it. But if I'm not doing it, it has nothing to do with you. You see what I'm saying? Like it has everything to do with me. Like I don't have to share what I don't want to share. And regardless if you gave me enough reason to share or not. Right? Like you walk during Christmas, Santa Claus got that bucket. You got money. You don't donate all the time. Right? It ain't like you can't do it, you just don't. So like
What's your thoughts on that, Mr. White?
I think two things could be true, right? So I think both things are true in terms of I do feel like vulnerability is needed for any relationship, intimate relationship to grow or to reach like its highest peak. I also feel like it's on him whether he gives it. Like it literally has nothing to do with the person. It's just up to him if he's ready to do it. But overall, I do feel like because vulnerability builds unity, man, and it's so freeing. It's freeing. I remember one of my when I went through my first divorce, or my only divorce with my first wife, my frat brother got separated from his wife as well. And we always talk about like, dag, I hate we went through it, but I'm glad we went through it together. Because for like 3 months, me and this dude cried on the phone every day together. Like I would be good. He'll hit me up like, yo, it's just too hard. And I'm crying with this man. Grown men crying on the phone for about 3 to 4 months, man. That's vulnerability now. And it just locked us in, more than ever. And even with my wife, right? So how I said earlier, like, nah, you're not getting this. Once I came back, I talked to her about it. So it's freedom in being vulnerable. But like I say, it hurt like hell when it's not reciprocated or it's not handled correctly. Some people never come back from that.
Yeah, I agree. And just to be clear with me, I'm not worried that it won't be handled correctly. I'm not worried about that at all, actually. I am speaking from a place of protection, not for me, right? Like I'm not like, and again, she could say, argument's sake, do I have a crisis safety plan? I don't even know what that means. She could say that's not fair, and I would agree. Like that's not fair for me not to say it. I would agree, but I'm so overly protective of anybody I care about that it's not on you to deal with my shit. Now that's what we got professionals for. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we got professionals.
Yeah, but I gotta challenge that a bit.
Go ahead. This is why you here, brother.
Because you say it's about protection. Could it be something else, right? Because what if she doesn't need protecting from that? And what if that's something she needs?
That would be her argument. She doesn't need protection. That would be her argument.
In that area, right? Especially not from you, because the two becoming one, she's literally built to be that for you, to where it's not going to be more on her. If anything, it'll be more freeing, right? So what if what's possibly causing maybe an issue, right? I know not directly, but in a relationship in general, what if the issue is the fact that it's weighing on her because I have a man who won't let me in? And so that's literally breaking her down even more because she can't connect with you that way.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But it's funny because we've been posting our cut downs from our last episode, and it's called "What's the Cost?" Right? At what cost? And I talk about I outsource everything. So what I'm saying is, and again, this to be very clear to our listeners, I'm specifically talking about my mental health.
Right.
No, there's professionals for that. You know what I'm saying? Like that is outsourced. Like there's professionals for that. Like there's somebody that is certified to help me with whatever challenge I'm having. Now, if I'm not, it would be a problem if I'm having these challenges and I'm not speaking to anybody, right? Not my wife, not the therapist. Like that would be a cause for concern, and I understand that. But what I'm saying is, when I speak to a therapist, it's about my mental health. I'm vulnerable with my wife with everything else, with the exception of that, because that's a place where it's like okay, let me just be clear. There may be things going on, but I don't. She knows about that. Like she'll know about what's going on. Like if I'm off, like she'll know. But in terms of like troubleshooting or solutioning, I don't go to her for that. So maybe I should have gave that point of clarity. It's not like I walk around and don't tell her what's going on with me. I
Gotcha.
do, but I don't go to her for help.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Nah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense because with couples I work with, that's what I be having to tell women. Like just because he talked to you about, he's not coming to you for a solution or asking you to try to fix something. And sometimes when you talk to them about it, they're gonna take that joint and run with it and try to plan everything. It's like I don't need you to do anything at all. So I get you on that. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is for me.
I think that's a fair statement, and now it makes more sense too. Well, what else we got on it, fellas? I mean,
Shit, Adrian only got through one question.
I know
I did want to touch on though. One of the best things you can do when a man is being vulnerable is just listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. You don't got to say nothing. You don't got to try to fix it. Just listen and let him go because he'll keep going. You know what I'm saying? Just listen. Let him know. Oh wow! Like like that's it. Just listen and let him go.
How do y'all feel? So, have you ever been in a situation where you may have expressed something that's going on, and then you get like the solution-based woman who's throwing, well, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. That don't annoy you? Does that annoy you? Because I think like as men, we are solution-based, and we're like, I'm just telling you to tell you so you know what's going on. Like I got it. I'm gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But like,
I preface it though. Look, I'm venting. I don't need a solution. Like I preface it, and I tell my people, like my employees that used to work for me, I'm like, are you getting some stuff off your chest, or do you want me to help you troubleshoot this? You know what I'm saying? And but nah, I just wanted to vent. I just need to come in here to get off my chest. I'm good, but I can go back out now. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, because everything doesn't require a solution. You know what I'm saying? Some shit just requires time. But I needed to get it off my chest.
I wonder if that works both ways though, because I personally would rather just be able to vent and not hear you give me solutions because it makes me feel like you don't think I got this under control. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's my job for you to know that I got it under control as the man.
You know what that is though, right?
Yes, I get that. But the point I'm trying to make is, does it work both ways? When they're venting to us, I know, we're taught to listen and be better at it, but we're solution based naturally. You know what I'm saying? And
does what work both ways?
So when the lady comes to us and again, we could ask, are you venting or do you need me to help you troubleshoot this? But more often than not, we are throwing solutions in the air because it's in our nature versus
I ask
just listening.
Nah, that's real. Yo, Bell, what you put that question, it took me years to learn that. Because of my previous job, I supervised like 19 people and 17 was women. So it used to be they would come tell me stuff. So here I go trying to fix stuff. No, you don't got to do nothing. So why are you telling me? Right? Like that was my mindset. Like, why are you telling me? Once I started to say, okay, do you need me to do something or are you just venting? I'm just venting. Okay, cool. Then I sit back. So you're right on the money, Chief, too. A lot of times when women come to us, they just want us to listen, but we go straight into solution mode. Like that's one of the main things I hear when I work with couples. I just want him to listen. He always trying to fix stuff. Boom, boom, boom. But what am I supposed to do? Just listen. So
appreciate you, Jack.
Yeah, appreciate you, cuz like we just trying to be better, man. Thank you for tapping in for real. No, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. You can't go wrong listening ever. You know what I'm saying? Like ever. But yeah, so Chief, do you do that every time
What's that?
somebody comes to you? Like you just start troubleshooting with them?
No. So honestly, if I'm being the people in the buck, I read a very long time ago. I read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It's a real simple read,
You
but
you
it's like a
reference that
chapter.
book a lot. Maybe I need to read it.
It's a more so a relationship book, but there was a chapter in there, and it's like it talks about like I think it's called like Mr. Fix It and like Mrs. I can't remember the name of the chapter, Mrs. Talk About It or whatever. And it just talked about how like women come home from work and telling her husband about the day, and he's throwing solutions at her when actually he just wants you to listen. She just wants you to listen. And that just that little part right there, like, yo, shut the fuck up. Just listen. You know what I'm saying? Like just listen. And then, like I said, afterward, you can ask, do you want me to help you troubleshoot this, or anything I can help you with? You know what I'm saying? Do we want to need to come up with a solution together type deal? But more often than not,
I
bro, like
think
a lot of men all spit out solutions and don't listen. And that's what creates sometimes it often creates some tension. Because we're like, nah, what you gonna do about it? You keep talking about it, what you gonna do about it? Nigga, she just want to vent. You know what I'm saying? But we like, yo,
well, I will say there's only so many times you can vent to me. I will give that disclaimer about the
about the
same
same thing.
topic, about the same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I'm not about to sit here and listen to you talk about your job 67 times. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Nah, make a move. Like we're not gonna keep talking about this. And because the other thing, I read a quote somewhere that said, "Why would I fix it when I can keep talking to you about it?"
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, I got shit to do. You know what I'm saying?
He
Like,
sit there like, yo, I appreciate you, but I'm not your therapist. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
man. Like, nah, you got to get this together because now this is becoming a crutch. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's becoming a crutch, and it's like that's not fair to me. You know. So you know, it is what it is, man.
I definitely am, but sometimes it's come back to bite me in the behind, BC, for sure.
Um, what's up, Reese? How you doing?
I gotta call Reese too. We gotta talk. Um, yeah, so I mean we didn't really get into the growth mindset too tough, but I think tapping into vulnerability was a good conversation because it definitely,
That's all part of growth too, man. Because
yeah,
like I know women, they get a lot of flack from men, and I don't know what to call us men that like I think about you, Chief, and not you specifically, but like you pride yourself on being able to communicate. You know what I'm saying? You're well read and stuff like that. But if I'm being honest, there's some men and women, obviously, that use that as like a mask almost, where it's like, well, I've done like I got a friend, a business partner that they always talk about. Well, I've read this, I've done this, and this, and this. So it should go like this. Where it's like there's something to be said about application and theory. You know what I mean? Like you can read something and in theory that makes sense. Yeah, if all the stars align, yeah, this is how you would handle it. Yeah, that makes sense. But then when it comes to application or practice, right, is another way to say it. It's like that shit may or may not help you in that moment. Like you kind of have to just be present. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, but like I think about some women and some men like that, like they pride themselves on being this certain way or this certain having this air about them when it comes to relationship advice, even where it's like, how do you put that shit in practice? Right? Like that's good advice, but how do you put it in practice? And I think that's where the listening comes in. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like what your spouse is saying to you could align with what you read, but it won't line exactly. So it's like, so how do you be present in that moment to hear what they're saying and then execute or apply what they need at that moment, as opposed to like, and again, this isn't you. When you said this, Chief, it just made me think of it. I'm not speaking to you. I'm just saying, but some people have this like blanket. And we talked about it with dating, and they throw out these these prepared answers or prepared questions, where it's like, well, what type of man are you looking for? What type of like? And how was my day? How about that? Right. Let's start there. How was my day? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you about to order for apps? You know what I'm saying? Like let's stay here. Let's stay present. Like let's stay in this moment. So that's why another piece of me with the vulnerability thing, like I didn't feel comfortable giving advice because it's like, nah, man, read the room. Right? Read the room. Like just be present. Read the room. Like listen and then speak. And
Everybody ain't
only
good at
speak
that
if
though.
necessary.
Everybody ain't good at reading the room. Some people get it wrong all the time, and it's like frustrating. There's people at my job that like
Yeah.
they just don't like you. Like yo, read the room.
I read an article that something like 70% of the people on the planet aren't self-aware. Like some crazy statistic like that, man. I can find it and send it to you, but it was a crazy statistic about self-awareness, and that's what it goes back to. You know, and I never, and I know we are. It's our podcast, All Black Men Need Therapy, and I know the advice we give is to help, but some things I don't want to give advice on because I could be wrong based on the circumstances. You know what I'm saying? And you taking what I'm saying and you trying to apply it in a situation that doesn't warrant it. But if you listen instead of just seeing something about, oh, this is what Bell was talking about, I'm gonna do this. And I'm not saying people do that, but I'm saying it does happen. And if you just listen, you can pick up the nuggets. But to your point, Chief, statistically, most people aren't self-aware. So, you know, I don't have an answer.
And we terrible at listening and got selective listening. They're gonna take one piece and then add the rest to that one sentence you gave.
That's the truth, man. A lot of people listen just to respond instead of
Yeah.
to comprehend. You know what I mean?
We
And
yo,
that's
I we like to keep it short on Thursday, so we just over an hour. So I think we'll cut this one short. If you got something else you want to add to this, shoot us an email. Hit us up on our DMs on Instagram or Black Money Therapy. Put some comments in there on YouTube, whatever. But yo, I really dug this conversation, yo. Like I know
shit made
we
me
always
uncomfortable.
you be all right. What you
See, I was
what you
vulnerable and you dismissed me.
no, but I'm about to get into it. What do you, can I finish? What do you always saying when we talking about get comfortable being uncomfortable? It's
You you,
helping you
you
move in the
dismissed
right
my
direction,
vulnerability.
huh?
You dismissed my vulnerability.
I apologize if I offended you in that regard.
Damage is done, bro.
Well, just know that there is some remorse behind it, so we're there.
I don't give a
Look at
shit.
that. That's growth and communication. So therefore, you dismiss
I'm
my
never gonna be
apologies.
on this podcast again, thanks to you.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Well, that's
And
kind of what I'm talking about.
thank Chief.
Yeah,
Nah, man. In all seriousness, this conversation it was good to have, but I don't know. Felt hypocritical for me at times. Me, not necessarily the masses, but for me. But
well,
the more we talk
listen.
about it, maybe it won't. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that the guard lowers a little bit more and more as we continue to talk about being vulnerable. So I'm cool with that. Yo,
What is that emoji? Like, what is that? A
I think
bat?
it looks like cameras. I think it is. I think that's a good thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't help us understand what that means, Jesse. What the cameras mean. I think it's a good thing. But Mr. White, man, I appreciate the conversation. I think it's important that we close with some sincere thoughts. Give me a final thought, Mr. White.
Final thought: like, share, subscribe, cop the
Shout
merch.
out.
You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? Got my healing joint on, got the fire patch, and
Oh,
yeah.
those are
Remember
hugs.
one
Oh,
thing.
those are two people hugging. It's not a camera. My bad, Mr. White.
Nah, you good. Final thought: if a man is being vulnerable, just listen. And that's with most things, listening to understand, just providing a space. You don't have to fix anything at all. Just listen and let them go. You know what I'm saying? Maybe try to give a hug at the end of it, but listening is key.
Word. Go ahead.
My final thought is, man, don't be so well read that you lack common sense.
Mm.
Um, be don't be so aware that you lack common sense, and be present in the moment, because all you need to know in that moment is what they're telling you. You'll figure out the rest. Fun thought.
I think for me, my final thought is first of all, hit the like button. Word, if you're still on, hit the like button. But I think my final thought, what I took from this most was being mature enough to set parameters in your vulnerability. If you have decided you want to go there, tell the people how to best serve you. You know what I'm saying? If you find someone you're comfortable enough, make sure that they know how to best serve you because you're going somewhere that you don't typically go. And I think that would make for, for the ultimate safe space and definitely help you continue growing and moving in a good direction because now a lot of that weight is off your shoulders because you're allowed to be vulnerable. You got a safe space. So if you're going to be vulnerable, dope. Set some parameters behind it so these people can best support you. Yeah, I think
I
that's
would
dope.
argue that the strongest relationships. I would argue. I'm not saying this fact. I would argue that the strongest relationships don't require disclaimers. Just to, just to.
That's fair, but I also think it's important to even then just to let the people you care about the most know exactly what you need in these specific moments.
If you know, I agree.
Yeah,
And it take time to build the stronger relationships, right? So you might got to do some of the disclaiming to get to the place to where
That's
now that's no
yep.
longer necessary.
That makes sense.
that's
That
fair
definitely makes sense. Yep, that's a good way to put it.
for sure, fellas. I really rock with this conversation. Think it's helped me a little bit. Um, I appreciate y'all. Those of you who are watching, if you have any topics you want us to discuss on Therapy Thursdays, shoot us an email at Prentice Chief or Bell at abmnt.com. Any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, you want to just talk about the episode, talk about some shit you don't like, talk about shit you love, whatever, hit us up. And we all do a good job at responding. We have a voice line. If you're going through something and need some, some instant help, and we are not therapists, but wouldn't lend a helping hand, 860-410-6160. 860-410-6160. Mr. White is here, Adrian White. He is an LCSW, CSW, LMNOP. Hit him up on his hit him up on his thing is info at acceleratedelevationcom and connect with him. Like, share, subscribe. I think we move in a good direction. So yeah, per usual, man, do us all a favor and hug a black man today
Do it.
and tomorrow.
Do it.
We out, y'all.
Please.
Oh, gotta get to the joint. Where the joint at? Here we go. I'm late as hell. We out.